Welcome to a presentation from the Academic Writing Program at the University of Maryland. I'm Beth Colson, a lecturer in the Academic Writing Program. In this presentation, we will discuss the ways in which academics think and write about important issues, demonstrate how academic writing is a process that involves engaging with the research and ideas of other academics, and preview the steps that you will take and the skills that you will acquire this semester to help you think and write as an academic. Contrary to popular belief and Calvin's in this cartoon, academic writing does not involve obscuring simple concepts with difficult-to-read jargon, nor does it involve using inflated prose to hide weak ideas and flawed reasoning. As an academic writer this semester, you'll become engaged in the activity of academic inquiry, meaning that you'll be moving from reading research to summarizing to developing a research question to crafting arguments about a particular topic. Indeed, at the center of all academic writing is an inquiry or a curiosity about how the world works and a desire to understand it in its full complexity. To discover and make sense of that complexity, academic writers apply patterns of thought that lead them to question assumptions, enter into ongoing discussions with other academics about past and current research, explore alternatives, anticipate opposing arguments, compare experiences, and identify causes and consequences of ideas and events. You are thinking like an academic when you comparison shop for the best performing entertainment system. That's not to say when you choose one system over the other because it's more popular, you're thinking like an academic, but you are thinking like an academic when you read the latest Consumer Reports commentary on the performance of various systems and compare Consumer Reports ratings to the ratings in Wired or PC World. You're thinking like an academic when you deliberate what courses you should take next semester. This means you wouldn't just take a course based on the recommendation of one friend or on just reading the evaluations on ratemyprofessor.com, not entirely reliable. It means that you would do your homework first. That is, you would read through the course evaluation on the university's website. You'd survey other friends to get their opinions of the course. You'd find the course syllabus online and see what books are listed as course materials before you enroll. Fundamentally, academic habits of mind are analytical. When you consider a variety of factors, you're conducting an analysis. But analysis involves more than classifying or dissecting something. It's a process of inquiry, of continually asking questions and looking for answers. It reflects a skeptical habit of mind, an unwillingness to settle for obvious answers in the quest to understand why things are and how they might be different. Seeking and valuing complexity are what academic writing is all about. Academic writers tend to avoid binary thinking, meaning that academics avoid imagining there's only two sides to an issue. For example, you would avoid arguing about whether golf is or is not a sport, or whether Google is or is not evil. This type of thinking would only lead to confrontational style of arguments of I'm right, you're wrong, a style of arguing that rarely leads to actual resolution or helpful research, although sometimes it makes for entertaining reality television. Academics also reflect on what they observe. Academic writers often begin their research by reflecting on personal experiences or observations, and then use that as a point of inquiry into further research or writing. For example, University of Maryland English professor Carla Peterson began her research for her most recent book, Black Gotham, A Family History of African Americans in 19th Century New York, with a family story she remembered hearing, and her investigation into that story led Peterson on her quest to discover more about the history of African American elites in New York City. Her research challenges the typical historical assumptions about 19th century Black communities, particularly those that seem to present readers with a monolithic portrait of the enslaved Black prior to and following the Civil War. A very well-known example of how personal observation and reflection can lead to groundbreaking research is Dr. John Snow's research into the source of cholera outbreaks in London in the 1850s. Dr. Snow, an obstetrician, had long believed that the water contaminated by sewage was the cause of cholera. In fact, Snow published an article in 1859 outlining his theory. But London doctors and scientists thought he was on the wrong track, and they stuck with the popular belief of the time that cholera was caused by breathing vapors. Hardly academic thinking. However, in 1854, after a terrible outbreak of cholera in the Soho district of London, Dr. Snow worked to track down information from hospital and public records on when the outbreak began and whether the victims drank water from the Broad Street water pump. Snow suspected that those who lived or worked near the pump were the most likely to use the pump and thus contract the cholera. By using a geographical grid to chart deaths from the outbreak, as you can see here in this visual, and then investigating each case to determine whether people who lived there had access to the pump water. Snow then developed positive proof that the pump was the source of the epidemic. Today, scientists consider Snow to be a pioneer of public health research and epidemiology. Academics also examine issues from multiple points of view. For example, in this course, one assignment called Considering Another Side asks you to write and research your chosen topic from a position you would not normally agree with. Academics ask issue-based questions. Specifically, in this class, we'll be learning about stasis theory, a tool from classical rhetorical theory that enables writers to approach a topic from multiple perspectives. You'll be learning more about stasis theory in your reading this semester. Academics also resist simple answers and simple questions. In this class, you'll find that researching either or yes-no type questions will not yield a strong research final paper. For example, if you begin with a question of is competitive cheerleading a sport, you'll find it difficult to locate scholarly sources to support one position of yes it is or no it isn't. Of course, some might think that the topic of cheerleading itself would not be worthy of an academic's time. But what if that academic was a kinesiologist who is studying the rate of knee injuries in competitive female collegiate sports, such as these researchers who were assessing injuries in college cheerleading and looking at the distribution, frequency, and the associated factors that go along with those injuries? Then it might become a very academic topic indeed. So, how do you become an academic writer this semester? There are some steps you can take. 1, be receptive and respectful of the ideas of others. Academics tend not to denigrate the thoughts and opinions of other writers. While academics may disagree with another researcher's approach, they will usually acknowledge the merits or contribution of another researcher, especially if they've made significant contributions to the field, even if they disagree with the research outcomes. Engage with the ideas of others. Well, what do we mean by the word engage? Some students assume that if they simply quote a researcher's opinion or include a study's results in their argument, they've engaged with the research. A student might say, I've quoted Dr. Smith as saying the laws regarding privacy in the internet are vague and ambiguous, so isn't that proof enough? Or she might say, I think that the reader can get the meaning from this quote very easily. Why should I belabor the point? In this class, you will learn how analyzing and synthesizing the ideas of others plays a significant role in aiding reader comprehension and in creating strong arguments. So be willing to exchange ideas and revise your own opinions. Listening to others allows members of a learning community to generate awareness and perspective. In this class, you will be entering into ongoing academic conversations about your topic. You will learn how to put in your oar and how to row alongside researchers in your field. And finally, understand that writing is a process of reviewing ideas, defining issues, formulating questions, developing sound arguments, listening to the opinions of others, and revising your work.